The intended use of this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guests independently, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Updog Challenge Incorporated, its sponsors, or any other partnered organizations. Updog Challenge Incorporated does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of any opinions expressed. In no way should the information provided during the Sweet Spot and Updog podcast be considered veterinary, medical, legal, or professional advice. At all times, the advice of your personal professional should supersede any information provided, derived, or inferred from listening to this podcast.
Ready, set, go.
Welcome to the Sweet Spot, an Updog podcast. I'm Andre Morissette.
And I am Jack Bailey. We are your hosts today. We do not have a guest today, but we have an exciting topic. This is a topic that we've actually talked about doing for a while. It's come up a bunch. People have given us this idea. Many people have suggested this idea. So freestylers should be happy, and non-freestylers, this is an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about freestyle because, Dre, what's our topic? What are we going to do today?
All right, we're starting a new series. So the topic or the concept or the context of the series is breaking down our freestyle score sheets. So we're going to start with our dog category, and we've picked two subcategories from dog. And we're going to discuss those subcategories today. And then the next time we do this episode, we'll pick two different subcategories from either dog or human or team, and discuss those. So we thought it would be really fun to do a deep dive. Now, someone actually messaged and requested these two subcategories of dog because they tend to be subjective. And that's what kind of started this conversation. And we were like, hey, we should just do this for all of our categories and subcategories and have a conversation about what our perspective is on the categories and subcategories. And then if you guys have feedback or questions about that, we can expand on it. And if any of you out there feel particularly passionate about one of our categories or subcategories and you want to be involved as a guest in that episode, you could reach out to us or put in the comments below that you would love to be a guest for team, for example, and then we can invite you on for when we record our team categories. So that's just kind of what we wanted to do. We want to start a new series to break down the freestyle score sheet, and we're going to start with dog. And Jack, what are our subcategories today?
All right, so as you guys know, if you play level 1, there are 3 skills underneath the dog category that you get a score for.
Mm-hmm.
On level 2, there are 6 skills. So we're going to be breaking down those 6 different skills. Each time we'll let you know if that skill is in level 1 or not, because it's the same skills, it's just only half of them in level 1. So today, the requested skills to kind of have a conversation about are tempo, which is an interesting one. Sometimes it is, I think sometimes people don't think of all the different ways that a dog can show tempo
Yeah,
or lack of tempo.
right.
So we'll kind of talk about some of that. And then the other one is flash, which Dre already mentioned. Flash is the one skill in the dog category that is a bit more subjective than the other 5. So we'll be talking about that and what's appropriate and maybe what's not appropriate to do in that particular skill category as a judge, and what you should expect as a player for the judges to be looking for and for them to be giving you points for.
Yep.
So why don't we start? Yeah, so Dre, why don't we start by talking about so with flash and tempo, which one of those, if either of them, are found in level 1?
Well, if we pull up our score sheets, out of the 3 categories in level 1, we have catch, drive, and tempo. So tempo is the one that is in our level 1 and level 2. And flash is going to be in the level 2 only, where that is more of our subjective score. So level 1 is going to go more on the core skills, catch, drive, and tempo. And we're going to be talking about tempo today. And then in level 2, obviously, tempo exists there as well, and flash.
Can I jump in real quick? Since this is the first one that we're doing, can I say something real quick that I always say during our judging course about the
I would love
difference
that.
between level 1 and level 2? So, level 1, obviously you have less criteria, less skills to worry about as a player. And as a judge, you're only looking at a few things. and this might be my like just my personal opinion, but I encourage players to move out of level one as soon as you can. And the reason why I encourage that is because you get feedback on more stuff. You are likely out there doing more than the three skills that you're getting judged if you're playing level one. Um, for instance, in the dog category, we have disc management. That only shows up in level two. If you're doing a freestyle routine, you're doing some sort of disc management. Is going to be beneficial to you to get a score from the judges on that so that you know how good you're doing, how you can improve, things like
Yeah.
that. You can see your progress. If you're staying in level one, then you're only going to see your progress on those three skills. So keep in mind, just because you decide to play level two doesn't mean that you've got to play against, superstars like Dre. She might be playing level two, but I could play level two as well. Your club is allowed to create divisions, and they can create as many divisions as they want, and they can create those divisions however they choose at their event. Like this, sometimes locally, we do events and we only do two divisions because of how many players that we happen to have. So, if it's a small event, we might just do novice and pro or whatever we call it, intermediate and pro or whatever. We'll just come up with the names for it. If we put on a larger event like a Florida State Championship event, we might have three divisions because we've got more players. Everybody plays level two, but we break it down into divisions. So the only people that have to play against the superstars are the superstars. You can create a division for senior citizens. If you got a bunch of old folks there that are enjoying freestyle, but maybe don't feel like they can keep up with the youngsters, you could do that. You could create one for younger dogs or whatever. You can create the
Yeah.
divisions however you choose. I just encourage you guys, move out of level one as soon as you can. You get more feedback. You'll be able to develop your game faster by getting that feedback. That's just my opinion. Dre, what are your thoughts?
I can understand a brand new club, maybe people just trying freestyle, a club trying freestyle for the first time, moving off of games. It's a simpler way. Level one is a simpler way of kind of like conceptualizing the idea of freestyle. You only got to really think about three things versus six. But I feel like once you've been to a couple of events, it behooves you to move up and get more feedback, like you were talking about. So I can understand clubs first dabbling in freestyle, brand new players wanting to do level one so they're not overwhelmed. But as soon as you get, 5, 10 people showing up to your events, go ahead and bump it up to level two, and it'll expand your understanding of freestyle just because now you're thinking about six categories instead of just thinking about three. So naturally you'll start to expand your game that way, I think was what Jack was alluding to. So if we break that back down into the dog category, if you're only playing level one, you are missing out on that flash category. So if you're talking about a dog that maybe is a little bit slower, that kind of lopes around the field, and then you have another dog that maybe has more drive and more dynamic leaping or cutting and switching directions, that flash score could be the difference between those two dogs having the same elements. And if you're only playing level one, the judge doesn't have an area to separate that, to say that the flash of that dog separated them from maybe the slower, less dynamic dog. And as a handler, if you're only playing level one, there isn't a category for you to see how you can improve there. But if you're playing level two, if you see that flashes in there and that was the separator between you passing that dog or not passing that dog, then you can then look into how you can add additional flash to your dog. If we put that conversation inside the conversation of today in the score sheet, what would be missing from level one that is in level two is flash. And if you attempt to play level two instead of level one, you'll get feedback on flash. And that flash feedback might be the separator between you and a different team that you didn't even consider because that category wasn't something you were considering before.
All right, so let's jump into our two skills then. So just like
Yep.
Dre said, these are both found in level two. The only one found in level one, so I say let's start with that one, is tempo.
Yeah.
You good with starting with that one?
Yeah, and
So
we
I'm
have a
going to pull
definition
up,
on our sheet. Yeah, it's on
I
the
was
sheet
just
if you
going to
want to
say, I'm
read
going
it.
to pull up the sheet so anybody watching can kind of follow along with us. And you can see here, if you go down to the bottom, you can take a look at what tempo is defined as. Remember that the bullets on the judge's worksheet are not a list of things that you have to do. They are examples of how a dog could demonstrate that skill. It's to help you kind of understand what we are referring to by tempo, but it is not an all-inclusive
Not
list,
an
which
exhaustive
means
list,
that
yeah.
yeah, which means that there are other ways that dogs could demonstrate tempo as well. But if we take a look here, Dre, do you want to just kind of read them for those folks that aren't
Yeah.
watching, or, like don't have visuals?
Sure. So tempo has two bullet points underneath, and it says dog paces itself and slows down for enough time to read the situation and react to make a catch, begin flat work, set up moves, etc. So basically, the dog paces itself with enough time to read the situation and react to whatever the move is that's coming next. The second bullet point is the dog demonstrates the ability to accelerate or decelerate in order to adjust for the placement of the disc. So those two bullets are pretty closely related. Basically means when the dog's approaching the next move, they're not going too fast or too slow. They have good control of their body and they're prepared for the next move. So, Jack, maybe give me an example of what poor tempo would be approaching a move like an over or a vault if the dog is running.
All right, I can give you a firsthand um, I can give you a firsthand example. So, I have a new dog. His name's Doc. He's part Whippet, and I am having fun learning this new Whippet breed in terms of freestyle and how to control them. He has just figured out that he can move super fast,
Yeah.
and he really likes moving super fast. And so the other day, he was coming back from just a little like I was doing zigzags with him, and he was coming back in, and I was gonna like pull him through my legs and set up for some, I don't even remember what I was gonna do. But he was coming at me so fast that he just like banged into my leg. Like
Ow.
he didn't negotiate the opening for my through. I probably didn't call it soon enough, to be completely honest, because my dog's going so fast. I'm not used to the dogs going that fast. And he just like kind of hit my leg as he attempted the through. That would be an example of a dog rushing too fast, not being under control. Always the handler's fault. It's always my fault. I should have, given my dog a heads up earlier as to what was
Yep.
coming up. Um, there could be ways that, that I could have controlled his tempo better, but that's one example. Same dog. Another example with him is sometimes when he does have a dog catch, but if he comes in too fast for that dog catch, like again, he just launches at me and I can catch him because I'm fairly skilled at like, being able to catch things in the air, but you can tell if you're a judge watching that he's coming in too hot. In the hands of another handler, like Cat wouldn't be able to catch him. Like she might like it. Doc might hit her and
You might
like,
be flattened.
and stumble the catch or something like that.
Yeah.
So in Doc's situation, it's an example of too much speed, not reading, just like that first bullet, not reading the situation. So as a handler, I've got to figure out how to I got to communicate with Doc better and earlier so that he knows what's coming up and he controls his pacing a little bit better and his tempos better. So there's two examples
Yep.
right there with the same dog, um, just not doing a good job of tempo.
Yep. Yeah. And then I can give a alternate example of maybe the opposite of that. Let's say you're playing freestyle with your dog and your dog is chasing an out throw, you're picking up your discs, and then you're standing there waiting for your dog to come in, and you're clapping your discs together and saying, "Come here, dog, come here, dog, come here, dog, come here, dog." And you're standing there in the middle while the dog is retrieving into you. That is going to give your dog a lower tempo score because they are not um engaged in like connection with you for freestyle. If you're standing still and your dog is slowly loping towards you, that's going to give you a lower tempo score for your dog. Now, you can help your dog have better tempo there by moving towards them. That's going to mask that they're slow, right? And it's going
Right.
to shorten the time that the dog is loping towards you and you are trying to beat them. So the dog by themselves would get a lower tempo score, but as Jack said in his too fast, not collected, not controlled approach, he could have given the cue earlier to set the dog up for a more controlled setting. If you have a slower dog that has maybe slower tempo or less exciting tempo, you can make that more exciting by you adding energy by moving to the dog. So either way, whether your dog is lower or higher in this category, you as the handler are responsible for masking that, controlling it, setting it up so that you can hit that sweet spot of tempo and everything happens at the right time. That takes practice, timing, expertise, learning, all that kind of stuff, right? But just because your dog is slow in a category doesn't mean you're always going to have bad tempo. And if you have those whippity types, I'm laughing because I went through all this. My Whippet mix is a little bit older than Jack's, so I just went through all that stuff. And if you have a dog that has a lot of speed, then, you as a handler can control that. You can move the tempo score even if your dog is a certain way. So we just want you to understand that just because your dog naturally is a certain way, you can shape and mold that into an elite score regardless of what your dog's abilities and scores are, by what you add as a handler.
Yeah, and that piece there too that Dre was talking about masking your dog's weaknesses, and showcasing your dog's strengths. Um, I did have a dog just exactly like Dre described
Tally,
before. What'd you say?
Tally, right?
Tally and Ziggy, both
Yeah,
of
oh,
them.
and
Like
Ziggy too. Yeah.
very, very lopey on the return, very, very slow to return. So, closing that gap is a big thing. And kind of hiding that from the judges. Another thing that I saw over the weekend, because we did a 2-day event, and you see this even in the games, like not just freestyle, but like sometimes you'll see dogs uh, almost like misread a disc. Their tempo is not the correct tempo for if I maintain this pace, I'm going to be able to leap and catch this disc. Like
Mhm.
they're kind of plodding along and they're going, and then at the last second they realize, oh crap, I'm not going to
I
get
didn't
to it.
prepare.
Right. And they
I'm in
and they
trouble.
kind of put the jets on, and sometimes they make the catch, but when you watch a dog continually do that, you can tell that the dog's not mathing correctly. They're
Mhm.
not making those adjustments and reading the disc correctly, and they're having to make last second bursts of speed
Yep.
to get to the disc. That's another example of their tempo not being the
Really good
best.
one. And that's one of those real obscure ones. Like most judges might not even see that, but that's a really good one for tempo. It's like, or if you see dogs using their feet to catch on some of these collection and control things, that's like one of those little details where a judge can see that the dog doesn't quite have confidence in that area yet, or they're not really solid with exactly how fast like, once you get a more experienced dog like Leap, for example, he was great at tracking collection. So I could throw whatever, and he would have the perfect tempo on approach every single time for that leaping catch. He never seemed to have to rush or slow down. So that would be excellent tempo in a dog, right? And that takes practice. Some dogs do it naturally. Leap did it naturally, but some dogs, like Doc, for example, that's going to be a process for you to get him to show good tempo. And for some of our slower dogs, it's going to be a process for you to figure out what you need to do as a handler to show good tempo. So some of our dogs gift us with that, and the rest of them, it's for us to find our points in tempo.
And not that this is a training episode, but just to throw in there, like Dre said, sometimes dogs just are naturally good at it. Sometimes they don't have that natural ability to pace themselves appropriately or the best. But we can work on that. We can when we're out practicing with our dogs, we can vary throws, we can vary our movements, we can ask them to speed up and slow down based on like pushing and pulling with our flat work. And so like we can work that with our dogs and make them better about their tempo. Like you said, I'm definitely gonna have to do that with Doc, and
Yep.
I had to do that with some of my slower dogs. Like for every dog that's too fast, there's probably a dog that is not appropriately pacing themselves because they're too slow.
Right.
So it's
Right.
just a matter of okay, and might be in different situations too. You might have a dog like
For crossover
Spice.
games, that's like super fast, and then for freestyle is slow. Or for Spice, she loves her
Yeah.
outside throws, right?
Right. You got dogs that just love certain things. Like you might see a dog speed up for a vault because they love vaults. But I need to know that and realize I can't have them speed up too fast for my vault because they've got to approach it appropriately with a good tempo to make a nice leap, to push off my back.
Yep.
So sometimes you have to watch your dogs just it's not like a constant thing. Like my dog always has a slow tempo or always has a fast tempo. It could be mixed up just because of something that they get excited for,
Yep.
or something they don't like, right? In a routine. Oh, my dogs don't really care for that really long out throw. And so they're going to just kind of lope along and, maybe
Yep.
get to it, maybe not. But anyways, yeah, you just kind of have to be aware of what your dog really likes, what they don't like, and how that affects their tempo.
Yep. I mean, I think that that's a good round out of tempo. Do you want to switch over to Flash?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. Do you want, I think we can open the conversation with Flash by reading it. Does that work for you?
Yep.
All right. So Flash, which is again only in level two. So you will not see this category in our level one score sheet. And it is what we would say is our most subjective subcategory in the dog category. So this is where you can have a four, even if the rest of the scores are 1.5s or twos. It's not uncommon to see the Flash category kind of be higher or lower than maybe the rest of the median scores because of its subjectivity. Um, okay, Flash. The dog possesses a star quality and or the it factor. Unique behaviors and or presence exhibited by the dog make it stand out amongst others. The dog's personality or performance evokes entertainment value. It is evident the dog is enjoying its job and enjoying the performance. Can you hear how many opinions are in there?
Yeah.
Right? How do you know if it's entertaining or not? How do you know if the dog is enjoying its job or enjoying the performance? How do you know if the dog stands out amongst other dogs or they have the star quality or the it factor? Every one of those subcategories is subjective. It's your
Yeah.
personal opinion whether that dog stood out. So that could be like, I love Aussies. I don't know if y'all know, but I love Aussies. So if I see an Aussie go out there with big leaps, that dog's going to get a higher flash score for me than perhaps maybe a border collie or a cattle dog type that doesn't leap as well, that's hard cutting fast back and forth, because I prefer Aussie leaping. In this category, I'm allowed to prefer that. I'm allowed to say that was flashy. That's what I like to see in a dog. So what do you think
So
about that?
I mean, obviously I like leaping Aussies too. So if you if you happen to have Dre and I as judge, maybe borrow somebody's leaping Aussie. But the other thing too, again, you can so like let's go back to say like Ziggy as an example.
Yeah,
Ziggy was not a super flashy dog. Much of it was because of his tempo. He was kind of pokey on his out throws. He was pokey coming back, but he had really nice collection inside.
in
He had
flash,
really
yeah.
nice
Nice
flips.
leaping.
He did some nice overs. So if I focus and concentrate on the things that make him look good, then I might be able to drive that flash score up a little bit because I'm hiding those things that make him look, less flashy, and I'm highlighting those things that make him look more flashy.
Yep.
Um, the other thing that I see a number of people do sometimes too is, like I see sometimes people put a little bandana on their dog, a little pink in the tail or something
Vet
like
wrap,
that.
colorful vet
Yeah,
wrap on
like
their legs and
it
colorful boots to
does.
match.
That can influence the flash score right there. Like, I've got a not maybe like Dre said, a hard cutting fast border collie, but maybe they're not super high leapers or whatever. You put a little like, flash on their tail or a bandana or something, and now I've got this extra color happening on the field.
Yep.
Shoot. I used to play with Babs's uh, poodle
Jolene. It was a
named
rainbow.
Jolene. And Babs would like give her like crazy paint jobs every time we would go to World Finals. And I would go out there with like one of my other dogs and have like I know a way better technical routine with
Yep.
like harder tricks and everything else. And Jolene would still hang with my other dogs, sometimes even do better than them, just because she looked amazing. When she
Yeah.
would do her flips, her hair was going like this. It was orange and pink, or maybe another day black and lavender or whatever.
Yep.
And just the manner in which she presented herself or
Her
showcased
self-expression.
herself.
She jumped
Yeah.
well. She had the big fluffy ears. So there's lots of pictures of like her ears flying out with all these colors and she's in the air and she got that big poodly smiley face. So we really we can dress up the Flash. And that does go into our performance conversation a bit, right? That plays into the performance round.
And
Kind of that
this
concept.
isn't like I'm also thinking of like smaller dogs that sometimes struggle to like look
Be
at have the
seen.
same impact that like a big leaping Malinois does or something. When you're a judge, like, and you see this big dog leaping right in front of you on the field, like you can feel it, you can see it, and then this other smaller little dog comes out, and it just doesn't have the same impact because it's much smaller. I
Yep.
can't see it as well. Make sure some things you can do play close to the judges. When you come in to do that little chest vault with your small dog or whatever, get
Yeah.
close to the judges so they see the impact of that little dog jumping up. And maybe they're only jumping 2 feet in the air, but for that dog, 2 feet is huge. You want the judges to be able to see that so you could move closer to the judges to maybe impact your flash score better.
Yep. Yep. There's definitely ways that you can move that. Okay, so now like how do you feel about the subjectivity of it? Like how do you feel about that impacting the score one way or another?
So we knew when we
It
wrote
can
this
swing the score.
in, what's that?
It can really swing the score.
It could, yeah. And we like during class, we talk about the fact that, dogs are earning these points, right? They're not getting points are not getting taken away. The only category where points get taken away, or the only skill where points get taken away, is in care of dog.
Sheriff dog.
They're earning these points. And just like any of the games, not just freestyle, it's the updog judges, their mission out there on the field is to award all of the points that dog or
Players
team
earned.
has earned. So even if you are not out there with a big leaping Aussie, Dre and I's responsibility is for us to see where is this dog showcasing Flash. And yeah, maybe they don't get the 4.25 that the leaping Aussie did, but Dre and I should be able to find where is the Flash with this dog, and maybe they end up with a 3.5 or something like that. So it shouldn't be a difference of, well, I don't like border collies, so they get a
They get
point
a
five.
one,
Right.
and
And the
I
leaping
like
Aussie
Aussies
gets
and they get a four.
right. It should be more about, okay, let me see where did this dog showcase Flash. Now, again, it's still subjective because just like Dre said, I mean, these things are even in quotes, star factor, right? What's a star factor? Like that's up to you to decide. But could you find some star factor in every dog? I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, we as judges, we love watching dogs play freestyle regardless of how the dog moves or how big or small they are. And it's our job to kind of find those points for those teams, especially in a category like Flash where it's subjective.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's really one of the categories where we can take like the word in my head is like investment, but it's more like passion. Like you can really put your passion into that Flash category and elevate yourself from a top 15 team to a top 5 team through the Flash
I mean,
category.
I'm just thinking too of like some teams that we've had at Updiff before with some dogs that I wouldn't consider big leapers or
Yep.
fast or big. Like we
Vanessa's
had
a
we
great
had
one. Stella. Like Vanessa and Stella, right? Like that's not a big leaping dog. She's not a hard cutting super fast, but with the team movement and their flow, big flash scores, right?
And I was thinking, remember the one that, well, we've had multiple of them, but dogs where all they did was they only did rollers
Yeah.
and
That was like 4 or 5 years ago. You remember those little terriers, the little black were they Welsh terriers, where she did all
something like that.
rollers?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
amazing. We should
But
try and find that link and post it.
you could just see it in the dog that that dog loved playing, and that
Yeah.
dog was trying to kill those discs every time, chasing it down. You could just see it, see the passion for playing in that dog. And so
Yeah.
they were going to get their flash score in a different way than Stella, and in a different way than a big leaping Aussie.
Another
I'm
great one
thinking
is Stavi's playing with her little dog Boom. You were talking about little dogs earlier. That's another great way of adding in a really high flash factor for a small dog. Again, you see a lot of team movement from the handler there, adding a lot of flow and connection, like you see with Vanessa, right? Stavi and Boom are the same way. There's a lot of dynamic movement between that team for a small dog that's going to add to the flash. So even if the dog is tiny, you can add that team movement in as a handler, and that's going to raise the flash score for the dog.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I think we can see it as a player. We could see it as a way. Maybe my dog doesn't have great collection and control yet, and I'm still working on that. But, and I know I'm probably not going to get my points there, right?
Mhm.
But Flash is a place where I could try and tweak my routine, tweak how I showcase my dog to get some points in Flash. So I think from a player's perspective, Flash is an area where you, if you really thought about how to highlight your dog's, well, Flash, how to highlight that, you could eke out another half point
Yep.
somewhere, and a half point's big because
It's
that's
a
a
big
half
deal.
point just out of six things. So,
That could be
um,
3 whole points if you got to have a point in each category. That's a massive improvement on your score.
great.
Yeah. I had one
All
more thought, but
right.
I don't remember what it is, so we're just gonna let it go. Oh, it was about judging. Um, I wanted to also mention from a judging perspective how you might measure more accurately what the flash score is. So, like if you're in the judge's seat and you know that's a subjective score and you want to be accurate or actually pay attention to giving people their scores for flash,
You want to
one
be?
way that well, one of the ways that I do that on the score sheet is I make tick marks when something excites me. So if I'm like, wow, or that was cool, I'll just make a little tick mark. And at the end, if I see in Flash there's like 8 tick marks, I know they had a lot of Flash. There's only two, then and then you use your rubric, right? Did that happen most of the time? Did it only happen a couple times? Did it happen a majority of the time? And that'll help you slot kind of what the Flash is. But since it's such a subjective category, I'm a Virgo. I like to find some way to ground myself in that category so I don't just go flying off the handle with ones and fours. And how I do that is by making little tick marks when I find something moves me in that flash category, something exciting, something creative, cool, whatever. I'll just put a little tick mark there and it'll help me slot.
I think that as you were talking about that, as saying something excites you or whatever, like and maybe this is just for me, but ingenuity always excites
Yep.
me. And I think ingenuity could help your flash score too. It's anything
Yep.
that's going to make your dog stand out. And just thinking from our local event here this past weekend, we have a very small dog named CB that
Mhm.
plays, and Jen and CB have an arm vault where she holds her arm out and the dog actually vaults off of her like forearm to get the disc.
She's only
And
this big.
it's real exactly. It's really unique. It stands out every time. Nobody else that I've seen does it. And CB hits it like 75, 85% of the time and looks nice doing it. And so again, that's a way that you can get points in two different categories, right? It's ingenious
Yep.
and it's going to stand out. It's going to make your dog's flash score, just like it says here. It, use unique behaviors and or presence exhibited by the dog, make it stand out amongst others.
Yep.
I'm not doing an arm vault with Doc, so
No,
it's
you won't have an
definitely
arm.
it's definitely making CB stand out. So it's those little things, that you guys think about. Your creativity can sometimes get you that extra points in Flash as well.
Yep. So if you guys have any questions or thoughts or additional feedback about what you think about the flash and tempo categories, we would love to hear from you in the comments below. Let us know
Yeah,
what
start a
questions you have.
conversation. Give us a good question.
Yeah, we're excited about this series, and we're digging into dog first, and then we may switch over to team before completing dog. We're not sure what order we're going to put it in, but we're definitely interested in hearing from you guys what subcategories you'd like to hear about, and what questions you have about the subcategories in our score sheets. And then that'll give us a place where we can kind of lift off and continue through this series until we get all of our subcategories covered. Let us know if you
Well,
like
this
this
is a fun
idea.
one. It's always fun for me to dig into the subcategories. If you are an updog judge, this should be coming out. This episode should be coming out right around 2026, right around January. So keep in mind, and all of you guys that are certified head judges, keep in mind that Dre and I are going to begin a quarterly series where we pull some additional videos that we didn't use during the judging, the judges training, and we can have conversations like this where we dig into some of the skills a little bit closer because your your training was just the beginning of your,
Yeah.
understanding and ability to judge freestyle well and award those points for teams. Teams keep changing. Freestyle keeps changing, and that's awesome. People keep coming up with new ideas and different things, and questions keep coming up. And so we want to be able to answer those for our judges, make sure our judges have as much information and practice with it that's going to make them great judges. So
Yeah.
be on the lookout for those quarterly meetings. They'll be on Zoom. They'll be open to all certified head judges beginning in
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
2026.
I'm excited about that. I think that'll be a nice level up for our judges because you can know the information, you can learn the information. You still have to be able to apply it in real time under pressure with all those details. And that takes practice, just like freestyle takes practice. You can know your freestyle routine, but can you go out there and execute it under pressure perfectly every single time? No.
No,
The same
no,
thing
I
for
cannot.
judges. Same thing for judges. We can't see all the details every time, and we can't execute perfectly every time. We do our best. And the more practice that you have, and the more experience you have, and the more questions you ask and answer, the more understanding you'll have about freestyle judging, the more accurate you'll be in your points. So, continue to learn and grow. And thanks for following along with us for that process. We learn through this process also, and continue to sharpen
Yeah, for sure.
our judging skills just by having the conversations. So, thank you for contributing to our judging knowledge as well.
All right. Well, we hope that you guys stay warm this winter. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please, like Dre said, ask questions below in the comments, and we will get back to you. In the meantime,
Be kind to each other.
be kind to each other and be kind to your animals. We will see you guys next time on The Sweet Spot.
Heard the word on the street, up dog challenge. It can't be beat. It ain't just fetch, it's a very special game for the dogs and the people. We all shout its name, whether it's a roller or in the air. My canine companion doesn't really care. We're in the up dog zone now. Got that laser focus, making every throw an epic high flying bonus. What's up, dog? We're on the field, sun in the sky, with my best friend soaring, teaching that just to fly. It's the up dog jingle, so come get in the mix for the ultimate teamwork and all the best tricks. From pro and go to freestyle, we're bringing the heat. We're fun, helpful, and a friendly team that can't be beat. So if you love your pup and you love to see the disc really spin, come on down to Up Dog, where the good times begin.
Yeah, where the good times begin.